Good news. It looks like Donald Trump is going to destroy NATO. And while Carney is going to set up a whole new world order, which isn't going to look like what we might think it's going to look like. Hey, Alex, thank you so much for making yourself available.
Always a pleasure, Rich. It is Monday morning, 8:38 on my end, and you're the first face I get to see in the morning. So,
Yes,
that's special, isn't it?
it's special. Lucky both of us, hey?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, 7:38 UK time. We're recording this, and this works out really, really well for me. I don't know if it works out well for you, Alex. I'll have all the links in the description below. Guys, please subscribe, comment, and like. It helps me beat the algorithm, so please do that. And we're going to talk about Greenland and Carney and Trump. Take it away, Mr. Krainer.
Okay, so it's all a tangled Gordian knot. So it's hard to know where to start from, but let's start with Greenland because it looks like Trump is getting Greenland. And I think that the effect of it is going to be that it'll fracture NATO. It has shown the Europeans to be completely and entirely powerless, inept, confused, disoriented. Without they're like a flock of sheep without a shepherd. That is, they just realize that the shepherd doesn't care about them and isn't going to give them guidance and lead. So they're confused. They sent something like 2 dozen soldiers to Greenland to make some kind of a statement. It's hard to imagine what they intended to state with it. But Trump's response was for all those nations that sent troops, some of them sent one soldier, literally.
Britain sent one soldier, Italy five,
Yeah,
France 15.
yeah. So
Germany
all of those
decided none.
countries, or I think with the exception of Italy, they got tariffs slapped down on them, 10% until June. And if the question isn't resolved by June, then it goes to 25%. So this is epic stupidity, which has resulted in real cost. I mean, imagine if you're a businessman, if you have a business and you rely on the US market, which is, Europe's largest export market, you just got screwed over royally by essentially the EU incompetent leadership. And then, of course, we have Kaya Kallas, whose solution to this whole thing is to say, well, it's time to start drinking. Are you serious? This is our this is our head foreign affairs person in the EU. So this deliberate practice of staffing key positions of power in Europe with complete incompetence is now starting to have a real cost on everybody else. People who wake up in the morning early, uh, work hard to make their business going, or now they're getting hit on the pocket. They might lose their businesses. Sometimes you're like just above water and it takes a little bit of adversity to sink you,
Mm.
to capsize your whole thing. That's going to be happening to people. I hope that Kaya Kallas is drinking now because she could hardly do worse than she's doing sober. Anyway, moving on to Mark Carney, or
But
as the Canadian
Alex,
people like to,
before
yeah.
you go to Mark Carney, I saw something over the weekend that Europe and the UK, EU are going to have reciprocal tariffs on the United States. Isn't that's just going to make things worse? But isn't that part of what the ruling class in Europe and the UK want? They want their populations impoverished, dependent, without any form of self-sufficiency.
Yes, that's true, but I think that Europe is the weaker player in this. This is like me climbing up into a ring with Mike Tyson and getting all tough. And it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
not
going to do
recommended.
this to him.
Right.
But they're they're going to play hardball with Donald Trump they've already destroyed their relationship with Russia. They cut themselves off from Russian gas. And now they are going to be jeopardizing their relationship with the United States over Greenland. And they're all pretending, oh, this is for the people of Greenland to decide. Like all of a sudden, they care about people in some place, indigenous peoples whom up until now they were busy sterilizing so that they don't reproduce and they don't ruin our, how do you call it, ethnic mix. Well, that was then, now we're bringing in people from Africa and the Middle East, so we're not so concerned about the ethnic mixes anymore. But, it tells you this is all completely insane. It's policy crafted around agendas that are completely insane. A lot of them are covert because, of course, people wouldn't accept them. So they all have to be sold on lies. And now we see these lies all fall apart like houses of cards in front of us. And the results are extremely ugly. And so obviously, a lot of people in Europe, I'm one of them, are watching this with a certain sense of Schadenfreude because all these gangs of liars are now getting exposed and they're losing and they're confused. And they were all smug when they thought that they had the United States at their back and their enemy was Russia. And now the picture changed on them completely and they have no idea what to do. And it's not even for people who think it's a joke. Kaya Kallas, our foreign minister, literally said it's time to start drinking.
Yeah, he
Can you
said that.
imagine?
She's the genius who said that it was the Russians fought on the side of the Nazis in the Second World War as well.
Oh, she said all kinds of everything. She even found a way to bring the whole story of Greenland back to Russia to say it's the Russian and the Chinese who are going to, something to the effect that they're going to be gloating about this. So let's not do this because let's not give them the satisfaction of watching us wallow in our stupidity and incompetence. Anyhow,
Yeah, Carney.
Mark Carney, or as our project, sorry, it's the morning.
Yes, appreciate
Um,
it.
well, as the Canadians like to call him, Mark Carnage, uh, had a visit to China, and the relationship between China and Canada has been very problematic under what's his Justin Castro. No, Justin Trudeau, I think is correct, his correct name. And so I think that Carney went there to mend the fences and try to rework the relationship, and he had to concede to creating a new world order. And of course, that those three words together triggered a lot of people. So I think I need to explain that because new world order, as it's been used in among those conspiracy theorists, which we're not here, of
No,
course,
no, no, no. Safe and
uh,
effective.
is something extremely sinister. So when Carney went to China, he said like, we have to build new world order. Uh, a lot of people said like, there, China is, bringing the Chinese style. There's all kinds of fear mongering about Chinese style, this and that. That's not what it is. So I wanted to explain what's going to happen is that you're going to have a three block world, basically, a multilateral arrangement. And the three main blocks in that are going to be the United States, Russia, and China. Now, three block world is something that goes back to the British Empire. When the British backed Hitler, and kind of maneuvered him into starting World War II. If this is news to anybody, I just dropped a trilogy on appeasement on my Substack with a video for if you know
For people who
it's a
can't
three
read.
part, but a video is just one part. So in about a 45 minute, you get the whole thing. It's very condensed. Basically, the way British imperial elites were imagining the three world order is with London at the center, and then one block East Asia in alliance with Japan, one block continental Europe in alliance with Germany, and the third block, the North Atlantic part, in alliance with the United States. But in this architecture, London is at the center, and the rest of the world is ruled by London-dominated alliances. So it's like a three-block world, but you can draw a line from each one back to London, and London is again this heart of darkness, the Mordor in the whole arrangement. The new world order that Mark Carney was referring to, the is going to be similar, except without London in the middle, without, let's say, with the heart of darkness parasite torn out. So it's going to be like a triangle: Washington, Moscow, Beijing, not Tokyo. And then there's probably going to be regional powers like India, Iran, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Egypt, Brazil, Mexico, and so forth. So that's where we're going to. At the moment, I realize that this is a little bit hard to imagine because the world seems like such a mess that it's, you know, maybe hard to see. But this is what's being done. I'm completely convinced of it now. And we have to always keep in mind that Confucius saying that, when a large tree falls, it falls with great noise and destruction, but seeds grow without a noise, without a sound. This is where we're at. We're all kind of mesmerized by the large tree falling, i.e., the post World War II order breaking down, and Trump is doing the part of the demolishing man. He's doing the demolition. It all looks very, very ugly. Trump is not using much finesse. He's not being subtle about any of this, but nevertheless, it is being done. And I think that when the dust settles, we're going to be in a very, very different world, and for the better, I believe, because I really do think that London is the heart of darkness, that it has basically been the instigator of most of the wars, most of the terrorism, drug trade, um, illegal migrations, um, including jihadism, which has been one of the levers of its foreign policy. Of course, together with the CIA, but we have to remember that the CIA was the creation of the City of London, modeled exactly on the MI6. They are sister agencies, and they have worked hand in glove for decades around the world. And so this is all now coming apart, and I suspect that the United Kingdom is in the crosshairs not only of Moscow but also of Washington, D.C. And well, that's for another discussion, but there's clearly an agenda afoot that is revising completely the special relationship between London and Washington.
Yes. Yeah. And just to plug some of the other stuff that I've done and to back up what you're saying, I posted a video a few weeks ago about how it's the British that sponsored violent expressions of Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, so that these
Yes.
three Abrahamic traditions can fight each other.
Yes.
And then Israel is a British project. The Balfour Declaration came from Britain. And born again Christianity, the Schofield Bible, was from Britain. And it's the Brit. I did another video where the British are the ones that murdered Presidents McKinley and Lincoln and possibly JFK. And the British were the ones who instigated the Russiagate coup against Donald Trump. You just look at the British media, they cannot stand him because he's not doing the bidding of as the thug, as the
Yes.
Britain's hired thug. Britain was behind setting up the CIA, also the European Union, also the WEF. Klaus Schwab was appointed by Henry Kissinger. Henry Kissinger worked as a British agent, handpicked. It's just all the way back. All roads lead to the City of London. And why the
Yes.
City of London? Well, the Bank of England was incorporated in 1694, and from 1750 to about 1910 was the premier central bank of the world, lending out money for imperial conquest again and again and again, making trillions of pounds from those activities, and then using those activities to set up structures all over the world in order to further its imperialist aims through, I suppose, finance, really funding it. And then, of course, the opium wars, and then we have the fentanyl wars coming out, going on right now, which people don't
Yes.
really know
Yes.
about because the mainstream media is not going to draw the connection to it because, of course, that's owned by those that work for the City of London. And I'm going to be recording a video very soon, Alex. I'm sure you're going to be very interested about South Africa with a
Oh,
couple of
yes, of course. Yes.
yes, and guess who's involved in South Africa?
No, Italians? Uh,
Close, Alex, close. And
Vienna, city of Vienna?
yeah, City of Vienna, that's it. That's it. Actually, it's a little village in Sweden, I think. They're the ones that run South Africa.
Malmo, Malmo.
No, Nuke. It's the Greenlanders. It's the the people from
Now it
Nuke.
all makes
And now
sense.
it all makes sense, right? But also, I recorded a video with Matt Errett last week, and he's published an article on his Substack. I had no idea. The Crown owns 89% of Canada.
Oh, so they left 11% to everybody else? Very generous. It's
It
very
is
generous
generous.
of them.
And Lord knows how much of Kenya and South Africa and India and Pakistan and Nigeria and,
Yeah.
and Australia and New Zealand.
So, Rich, you and I and Tom Luongo and others have been talking about this for years now. All roads lead to London. But guess what? It's catching on. May 2025. Here's what Jeffrey Sachs, of all people, said. Yeah, you ready for this?
Mhm.
Quote, I have a theorem about the world, which is that all the problems in the world goes back to Britain. Almost every problem you see in the world right now goes back to Britain. That is straight out of the mouth of Jeffrey Sachs, who
Wow.
was very late to this, but he's in a position where he gets stuff. People are catching on. It's
Yes.
it's it's starting to become understood, and that's a good thing because once you realize the source of the poison that is turning everything else to shit, then you can act against it. And then you're no longer falling for the siren song where, something that British officials are very good at, and I've been observing them very carefully, they're very good at taking moral high grounds.
Mm.
And I don't mean moral high grounds relative to you, but moral high grounds relative to the history of the Milky Way galaxy. You know, and they abhor violence. They abhor violence and wars. And they want to always solve the problems of the world and stability and just peace. And they always talk this beautiful game and are completely at a loss to explain the violence and all these nasty methods that other people employ. They never mention any of the problems at home. Like they will condemn China about the breach of human rights, and they will condemn Iran about the, abuses of the people at home, and Donald Trump for being authoritarian at home. They never mention the 12 plus thousand people that are arrested across Great Britain for hurty words on Twitter and Facebook and so forth. Like it doesn't happen. And so they're extremely good at pretending to be the sterling standard of democracy and human rights and all of these things. And then, like when you deliver it with this posh British accent, like yours, for example, then people kind of buy it, especially Americans. But
Well,
it's not working anymore.
well, Alex, hold up a second. Hold up. This is my real accent. This is the real way I talk, all right? So, what you're talking is just Putin propaganda. Putin made you say this. Everybody knows that the British have civilized the entire Milky Way with their cups of tea and their cucumber sandwiches
Yeah,
and their monarchs.
yeah. Do you watch sometimes Lord Jacob Rees-Mogg?
I do occasionally, yeah.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
He is really good.
He's like the caricature of the posh, smug, superior British gentleman who is explaining how things are to everybody else, and he doesn't have a small problem looking into the camera and lying because he thinks everybody else is dumb and that he can just, throw
Yep.
sand in their eyes
Yes,
and
yes.
blow smoke up their asses.
I'd love to have him on my channel, by the way. So if you're watching, Lord Mog, please reach out to me on X for a DM. We'll have a conversation.
He'll set you straight. He'll
Oh,
tell you
good.
how
Yes,
things.
quite right too. I need to be set straight. I went to a
Yeah.
comprehensive, so I didn't go to no posh private school. So
Yes, then you didn't learn.
I didn't learn. So I need to
Yeah.
be educated by my betters,
Yes,
like
yes.
yourself and like Lord Rees-Mogg.
Yeah.
Yes, but Alex, this new world order is crumbling, and there is, I suppose, activity going on in the UK where the UK's falling apart. And they're bringing in more censorship, they're bringing in more repression, they're changing the tax code so that those that are better off, including the middle classes upwards, really, it becomes more and more expensive. They're having their wealth taken away from them, and then um, increase in benefits so that pretty much everybody's going to be on the same income scale at the end. And I don't think it's going to I don't think it's going to last. It can't prevail. It's too
Well,
weak.
I think it's not going to last because I think that unless they manage to get rid of Donald Trump somehow and bring back friendly cabinets like, Blinken and Sullivan and Victoria Nuland and those kinds of people, I think that the MAGA or whatever is the new movement in the United States is coming for them. And I thought it was very relevant. This is not a joke. I mean, I took it as a troll as I took it as trolling at the time, but I've done some research and I realized this is not trolling. This is a warning. This is like you've been warned. Elon Musk had a pinned tweet on his profile on X last year in January for a little while. I don't know how long it was pinned, but enough to get 2 million responses. And the pinned tweet, I'll read it out exactly. Quote, America should liberate the people of Britain from their tyrannical government. It was a poll, yes or no. And so of those 2 million respondents, 58% yes. Um, I think that this was a glove thrown into the face of the British because Elon Musk is somehow involved in this. And Elon Musk uh, received a report that was prepared for him about
Some activities.
some activities by the British government that may or may not have been related to certain event in September of 2001 and may or may not have been related to the event that happened in July 2005 in London. And the, how do you call it when you cover something so that people don't see it?
A cover up?
Oh, yes, that.
A cover
You
up of
said it.
both
You said it. I didn't.
a cover up of both those false flags.
Yes, which would implicate the United Kingdom as a major sponsor of certain types of activity that people generally don't like.
Do you mean the types of activities that are prohibited under the Terrorism Act, which is a parliamentary statute, which people can actually refer to as a way of withholding tax, local and central government tax, as a protest against what this government is doing? Whether or not you care about war, you might care about digital ID, notaxforwar.com. I think you're talking about the British government violating its own statutes.
It may or may not be that. It may or may not be that. But basically, that's what Elon Musk ended up tweeting and pinning on his profile. Crazy.
Crazy. So then the whole thing about the UK government wanting to censor X and fine X and make X behave, not about pictures of Keir Starmer in a bikini?
Uh, Probably not because you can generate exactly those same pictures pretty much with Gemini and other AI engines. I think they just have to find something where they can spew faux outrage that gives them like moral high ground again to do what they need to do anyway because they they are now okay. So if we're talking about those all those activities that are against the British statutes, the current Prime Minister of the UK has been a major linchpin in how did you call that word when you cover things? Yeah, that. And so he's under siege. And I mean, and the whole system, is extremely fragile because it depends. It has to be run by a handful of people. Everybody else, you have to lie to them and tell them that they're doing this for, freedom and democracy and social justice and, being kind to LGBT people and saving the planet and getting rid of carbon in the atmosphere because it's going to destroy and sustainable. They lie to everybody down the hierarchy. So to get ordinary people who are decent to cooperate with the whole agenda, but it's all on the false premises. The people who know what's going on are at the very top of the pyramid, and two people who have been parts of the cover up and who are targeted: Keir Starmer, Gordon Brown, and they're coming for them. And so now they have to, in order for all that hierarchy of collaborators who are being deceived perpetually to not realize what's been being done to them and by them, they have to silence the whole thing. They have to make the whole thing go away.
Censorship.
So they're using censorship and they're using like the mental emotional bludgeons like racism, far right, um, uh, 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 Islamophobia, and all of these labels to remove everybody. Oh, you posted something that caused to cause somebody to be upset. Well, you're going to prison because they want people silenced and they're
Yeah.
going. The reason why they're being so radical is because they're being panicked. They're panicked, and they are panicked because they're under siege because Donald Trump's coming for them. And if it isn't Donald Trump, It's going to be others.
JD Vance, Tulsi Gabbard, because
Elon Musk.
The
Yeah.
Democrats don't have anybody. They don't
No,
have anybody who's going to capture the popular vote in the United States. And with the work that Tulsi Gabbard and Donald Trump are doing to clean up the elections and end the election rigging that was sourced from Venezuela through Dominion, Democrats don't have anything. Now, Alex, I'm gonna have the links in the description below where people can find you, right? I really appreciate you coming on at this time, and we should definitely do this again in the
absolutely.
mornings. It works, right?
Yes.
It gets you up. It gets you up in the morning. Otherwise, you'd just be lying in bed. And I see you. We both have to comb our hair to appear on this.
Yeah, I'm having a bit of a bad hair day,
You are.
looks like.
Yeah. So guys, please share this video far and wide. This shows that they are losing. They are losing. Freedom will prevail. Rich and Alex signing out. All the best. Bye bye.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.